Hello everybody and welcome to Realistic Realtors with Superior Coaching School. I'm Nick, this is Bill. We're all about keeping it real and helping you build your business right now through plan of action. We want you to take our steps and our methods and put it into action. And this is very important because we're on lesson 22. Today we're talking about Endgame. So Bill, I want to start with a quote because we're talking about Endgame, which is something near and dear to you because
Sure.
It's something you've reflected on a lot recently over the last few years. But we're going to listen to Warren Buffett. And he says, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you're going to keep working until you die.
Great quote. You know, an end game is used by a lot of chess players. It's basically what happens when a few pieces are left on the board. And that's the most important part of a chess game, right? Is what's that end game going to be?
Yeah.
And, you know, for years I've been trying to define what my end game is. And it started a long time ago. I've always been an entrepreneur. And it's obviously changed over the years.
Yeah, you know, and what's changed, I think, is, you started out, talk about your background, how you started out basically growing businesses, brick and mortar, right?
Yeah, so I never worked for anyone. I've always been an entrepreneur. So I started off a long time ago, kind of right out of grad school. I opened up a Subway sandwich shop, and then me and my business partner opened up two others. And then we quickly realized that our road to financial freedom and wealth and success is not, being an entrepreneur in the fast food industry for us. And it was a great franchise. We really enjoyed it, but we were in a state where there was no more expansion. So we're kind of handcuffed. So we needed to change our path. And then went into the food industry, and we opened up a few bars and restaurants and nightclubs. And that was a lot of fun. But the problem with that, Nick, is it's short-lived. You don't run into many restaurateurs that had, businesses for 30 or 40 years.
Yeah.
You're always recreating yourself. What people don't realize, they always want a restaurant or a nightclub or a bar, whatever business it is, you have to keep recreating yourself.
Yeah, there's a shelf life on each of
Shelf
those.
life. Even if you have a successful restaurant, every 5 years you have to shut down for 2 weeks, have a crew in there 24/7, and renovate the place. And you'll spend $500,000. So it's very hard to get ahead there. Then I opened up a bunch of fitness centers. And it went well for a while, but what happens with fitness centers? Every 2 or 3 years, the next new and best workout comes out, and you're competing with it.
It's a fad, yeah.
It wasn't long-term goal.
Yeah.
So, Nick, I always had a love for real estate, and I got my license back in '06. And what was nice about real estate was it's your own business. You control your own destiny with how hard you work. And what was nice about real estate, you didn't have to go spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars to get into business. Most of it is upfront hard work. So that's what I liked about the real estate game.
Now, did you realize, though, as you were getting into real estate and you're starting to sell homes, did you ever feel like you were kind of on a hamster wheel? You're always just constantly working towards that next sale?
Well, this is what we think, right, in real estate, Nick. We think that every year we're going to sell more and more and more houses. Right, that was the case for a while, and then the market crashed in 09 and 10, and I found myself like treading water, just trying to stay above and just pay the bills. It wasn't easy. So it's not true. Every year I was like, I'm just going to keep selling more and more real estate. I came out of the recession, and I started selling more and more houses, but I was on that hamster wheel that you were talking about. I was spending a lot of money to create a lot of sales. And if I spent less money, I was creating less sales. But I was never found a point where I was really saving enough money to hit the retirement that I want.
Well, so money's just one part of it, right? Because, you mentioned how you have to spend the money to make the money,
Yep.
right? You're always spending money and you're trying to work hard. But I think the other side of it is the time. I mean, how many times did you have to call out of your son's, baseball games?
Sure.
Or swim meets and to take a call from a client and step out, right? I mean, you really can never have freedom with your time, right, as a realtor, unless you are building something sustainable.
And it's not a healthy formula for your family, right, or your marriage when you do get pulled away from those soccer games and those swim meets and baseball games, and you're looking at your wife and like, hey, got to go. Someone wants to see a house, and you just go. But that's real estate. You're on it, 7 days a week, 24/7. You can't stop. You're always on the hamster wheel.
Now that's really what we're talking about is real estate for an individual agent. So for everyone listening out there, you've built your business to a point now you're doing $5 to $10 million in production a year, and you're on that hamster wheel. I mean, you feel it. I mean, you start to be a producer, right? That's what we'd consider a producer out there, right?
Sure.
You're really working. It's a lot of work. And the next logical step is to build a team, right?
Well, before the team, Nick, I went and bought a bunch of investment properties.
So you thought that was the answer. Now I can get off the wheel.
I get off the wheel because I'm going to buy a bunch of residential houses. And they're all like $180,000 to $230,000 range. And guess what, Nick? After a couple years, I amassed about a dozen of them. Well, here's the problem. I thought I was going to make X amount of dollars off every one. Well, here's what happens, is people move early. They'll move out at the worst time, Halloween. Who moves November, December? No one. You don't get that rented again to really February, so you're out 3 or 4 months rent. Every year, I promise you, something big's going to break, like the furnace or HVAC unit. So the money you were going to make that year on that particular property, it's a bust. You could actually wind up losing money. And then also, you're constantly on call. You'd be surprised. I get calls just because the garbage disposal is clogged, and it's my fault. The plumber goes and fixes it and calls me and says, hey, I found 3 bottle caps in the disposal, So they were shoving stuff down that wasn't supposed to be. So that wasn't the end game I was looking for. I thought it was sell a bunch of real estate, invest in real estate, and then eventually I have them all paid off, and that would be my retirement. Every month I would collect rent, and that's how I'd live. Very stressful.
But what you're saying essentially is that you realize that you had to still put in all the money, just like you were doing in real estate, to get anything out. I mean, you're constantly always on that wheel again, because now you're constantly having to manage these properties. And so I guess what I alluded to earlier is really the next step was, okay, I need to have a team so that now I can expand how much real estate can be done, because now it's no longer just myself, right?
And it's duplication, right? So realize that it's time to do a team, and I can build as many realtors on that team as I want. And not only can they be in the Charlotte area, they can also be in other states.
Yeah.
So, Nick, as we grow and we grow our team, we expand into different states. Now it's about duplicating. So I'm duplicating myself and expanding my real estate career and sales and income that way. So it's not just all me.
Yeah, and I think that's really important that we get to that point of duplication, right? Because as we've grown a team together, so we have a team we got 7 agents in the greater Charlotte area. And so as we've been able to grow a team together, we've learned that it's still not totally passive. We're still on the hamster wheel.
Still on the hamster wheel.
Answering the phone all the time and working to make our agents happy.
And helping these agents.
And to provide value, because really it comes back down to value. And so you were really able to realize that, okay, you've tried all the different models.
Yep.
And then you finally found one that really gave you a solid in-game option.
Absolutely. So listen, I love real estate for a bunch of reasons, right? I can make my own hours. I can control, the harder I work, the more money I make, which is nice compared to a traditional 9-to-5 job. But there was never a model that I liked that much, because I realized the traditional brick and mortar models in real estate are really conducive for the owners of those brick and mortar. And they got all the profits. So I realized the harder I work at all those other firms I worked at, I was making the owner of that franchise or that real estate firm, I was building their end game. I wasn't building my own.
Yeah, and I think that's so key, is that, there's a lot of models out there in real estate. A lot of you listening might be at a model that I would consider old school. We talk a lot about old school and new school, right?
Yep.
And about that whole different approach to real estate. But I think it very much applies to the brokerage that you're at as well. And I think the franchise model, as we've seen with the industry progressively getting more and more technology based, it's become more and more virtual. And so, I think if for looking at on balance, on holistically at your splits, at what technology your firm offers, where do you have to work? Do you pay desk fees? Do you pay franchise fees? If you look holistically at everything, what we came down to was you need to just partner with the agents and the people that are going to put you and your business first?
Yep, and I found that answer. And it was with eXp Realty, and there's a few reasons why, Nick. First off, it's virtual, and everything is going virtual, right? Just like, Netflix put Blockbuster out of business, right? Those brick and mortars don't work anymore. And eXp took the brick and mortar out of the equation because as realtors, we work virtually anymore. For years, way before eXp even came around, Nick, I was working out of my home office. Even for a large franchise, I didn't go into their office. There was no need, okay? So that's one reason eXp appealed to me. The other reason is that it's very agent-centric. So we're on NASDAQ, we're agent-owned. I have stock in the company. So as the company grows...
For doing your job.
For doing my job. So every time, say I sold a house or it was based on my performance, I got more stock in the company. Every time I attracted an agent over to the company, they had their first sale, I got stock.
Yeah.
So that stock is added up to a nice little nest egg for me, which I really like.
And I think the most important part, and these are all great things, being competitive as a real estate firm is very important. But the biggest thing that I saw in this model is that it's a partnership model. There are no franchises.
No franchises.
There's no broker owners. This is a model that surrounds itself around partnership.
Yep.
So you have through Bill Price Network and your organization and everything that we have here through what you've built through eXp, you're incentivized through the company to build partnerships, right?
Right.
Part of the reason why we're in a position we are today to coach and to share our knowledge and our secrets of what our team does is because of that partnership model. And I think you only find it where a company puts agents first.
Right. And the other reason that really pushed me to eXp is the revenue share model. And as you know, Nick, every time I attract an agent over to eXp, the company shares with me the production that agent produces. So I kind of like that model a lot.
And that's what I was alluding to, is that incentivizes you to build an organization.
Right, and I have an organization now, and what Nick's referring to is I have almost 1,000 agents that are underneath me in my organization. So I could call up an agent in Georgia that I know and say, I know you're probably really happy at your firm you're at, but listen, I'm at a firm that takes care of us, gives us an Endgame. And they wind up joining eXp. So right now, I think I'm in 26 or 27 different states and almost 1,000 agents that are basically part of my organization.
And what did that do for you? Because, for years, as you said, it was wake up, figure out a way to do more business, go to sleep, wake up the next day, figure out how do I sell more real estate? How do I make more hours in a day, which I can't, right?
Right.
And then you joined eXp and you realized, well, now what I can do is I can create coaching and create these models to help duplicate what I've done in my business and share. So now all you do all day is what? Coach?
Coach, I help agents. So, what's really different, maybe, I'm at an age now that I really like this, Nick. For forever I sold houses and my family and myself benefited from it. But now I'm at a point where I'm helping agents through coaching, helping agents with the eXp model grow their business and affect their families. I mean, when I tell you that the eXp model will change lives and just incorporated that in the coaching program.
Yeah.
I like seeing that I get a phone call for someone that said, hey, Bill, you know something? Through the eXp model and the rev share model, I'm making, X amount of dollars a month and it's paying for my mortgage now.
Yeah.
Opportunity they never had before. When I can take a new agent right from coaching and get them from selling, $1 million a year to $4 or $5 million a year, all of a sudden they're a career agent, you know? That I like. We have the ability to help others change their lives. And, that's what we're doing. And really, with the combination of you and I forming our team, with being at eXp, and with, our coaching program at Superior, that's what we're doing. And I don't want to sound corny, but I love the opportunity to change people's lives.
And I think the opportunity is there for all. And I think it's just something that if this is a model you've never seen before, it's probably because this is completely different than any model out there. So I think it's one of those things where, a lot of people are hesitant, and we were both hesitant at points too. It wasn't not everyone gets it right on the first try or understands it. But if you really take a look and dive into the model and the details, It's something that you just cannot afford to not take a look at.
Yeah, and I want to end it with this. Here's the deal. Whatever firm you're at, retirement in real estate, we say it's all the time, is death. You're going to sell your last home, and that will be it.
Gonna work until you die.
Work until you die, right? Like Warren Buffett said. And it is so true. Get out of a model, okay, that it's broker-centric, that you're just making that broker rich. You're fueling their end game. Think about that for a second. Being a model like we are, that actually fuels our retirement, fuels our end game. And that makes all the difference. I mean, my life has changed for the last 2.5 years, ever since I decided to join EXP.
Yeah, so let's do this. We're going to have a special guest come in and explain a little bit more about how big of a change EXP's had in their life and what their end game has become through this model.
And a mega agent, he has changed thousands of lives because of this model.
Yeah.
He's a great coach, too. He's just a great motivator.
But the one thing I love the most about what he's going to tell you guys in our interview is that he basically explains that EXP, before EXP, he had a team, as we do now, but he had a much bigger team that basically he gave the opportunity for agents to join his team, and he would have to take a commission to pay, as part of the split, to pay some of the coaching and the support that he gave, because it's not cheap, it's not free.
Nope.
But he said because he's been able to join EXP, he's been able to take that model and apply it to all agents that he's brought over, which he's become a giver.
And the point about it too, Nick, is he was making all the money. He was the team lead. He knew he was going to have retirement. And because of his team, the team was building his retirement. Now he gave back with the EXP model where his team could create their own retirement, their own end game.
That right there alone, I think, is enough for anybody out there who's interested. Just take a look at what he has to say, and we'll be happy to answer other questions, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.